Leadership Summit is that leaders are learners. And I was reflecting from yesterday, and I had really the top big takeaways I learned. Number one, everyone has influence, even though some people probably shouldn't. Though we're all different, just an average pluck. And if you need to borrow, ask a boomer. It's funny, it's true. Leaders are learners, and we can learn from anyone. I hope we'll embrace this truth that boomers can learn from millennials, and millennials can learn from boomers. People of faith learn from people that are not believers as we might else believe. Your background is pastors can learn from business pastor, and I'm about to learn from Chris Voss, one of the business leaders that I know. And business leaders can learn all things are possible with God. Today, I hope you'll take notes and that you'll lean in. It's going to be a fire hydrant of learning. I just ask, no matter what your background is, no matter, come with a humble, open attitude. If we pray some prayers and you're not a faith, feel free to join us or just watch. No matter what, we're all going to get better as the day goes. Before we dive in, we're going to have a little fun. We're going to have a social media moment. In fact, at all of our different sites, I think that most of the site leaders may do something similar. I encourage you to be sure and follow the Global Network wherever you enjoy social media, Facebook, Twitter, whatever. We're going to take a video of you all, and we're going to show all day long. I hope you're going to show whatever you're in social media. When you do, use the hashtag GLS19, GLS19. What I'm going to do is take a video of you, and I'm going to want you to cheer. It's going to be kind of like a wave. So go crazy with excitement as I video you. I am a do this right. We will do it again. I'm going to post this, and if you might go on there and tell us where you're watching from, just give a comment. I'm watching from. You might have a little fun and saying we're Ben in Indiana or whatever. But I'm going to do this, and you guys go ahead and do those sites as well. And I know we have to do this twice because you guys are going to be amazing. So I'm going to start. We're going to start over here. And like, pretend like you're an extrovert. You know, pretend like it's your first year. Just got away from home, whatever it is, and go crazy, all right? Hey, I'm with leaders broadcasting to about 1,500 around the world, and these leaders are crazy. Excited to be in the house. You guys were better than you guys. It's okay. Get ready for day 2 Global Leadership Summit.
A 24-year veteran of the FBI, Chris Voss was the lead international kidnapping negotiator and was trained not only by the FBI, Scotland Yard and Harvard Law School. He is founder and CEO of the Black Swan Group, a company which draws on Chris's in high-stakes negotiations to teach business negotiation outcomes with empathy. Named by Inc.com the 7 best books on negotiation ever written, Voss's national best-selling book, Never Split the debunks the biggest myths of negotiations and provides strategies for leading in the workplace as well as in everyday life. He's been featured in Time, Insider, Entrepreneur, Fast Company, The Washington Post, CNN, ABC, and more. Welcome, Chris Voss. By Paula Faris.
Hello, everybody. What a treat. Hello to our global audience, everybody watching from our host sites. I have a confession. I'm excited to, a little terrified because of your work with the FBI. I just need you to look in the camera and promise everyone that you're not going to issue some mind trick on us today.
I promise.
Okay, so you spent 20 years with the FBI. You were their lead international negotiator. Some of you in the audience may be, I'm not a hostage negotiator. What do I learn from a hostage negotiator? You have a lot to learn from a hostage negotiator. I want to ask you, why do all of us, regardless of our background, pastors or we're CEOs or whether we're secretaries, whether we're students, whether we work in a hospital or at a school, why do we need to learn the art of negotiation?
Anytime the words I want or I in your head, you're in a negotiation. You know, dangerous negotiation is the one you don't know you're in, and all of us are probably in 5 to 7 negotiations each and every day.
Wait, if we're in 5 to 7 negotiations a day?
Every day in a
Do you guys know that you're in a negotiation? I did not know that I was in 5. Well, I do have children. Like they hold me hostage every single day.
I'll give you a great example. What we don't think is a negotiation. I interrupt a lot. I didn't tell you I was going to do that, but
it's okay. Too.
How dare she? All right, so a guy started this global phenomenon called Secrets, which is send me your secrets, and I will let everybody know, because what you're struggling with is probably what people are struggling with also. So he gets a brand coffee cup from Starbucks, because the question is, are you in negotiation when you're ordering coffee at Starbucks? The guy that sends him the coffee cup says, send it to him, I give decaf to people who are mean to me.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Negotiation. And
Yes,
then those of you out there that think you're developing tolerance to caffeine, maybe not.
Maybe there's a reason for that headache. You just mentioned it, but say it again. How do we know when we are in a negotiation? We don't even know it.
Right. If I want or I need are coming out of your mouth, I want directions. I need 5 minutes.
Okay.
I need you to collaborate. I'd like to collaborate. I want you to collaborate. You're in a negotiation. Commodity that's in all negotiations is time. And it's a commodity that we all have that's the exact same amount of.
Yeah. I'm so excited to learn from you today, whether you want to get your kids to bed on time, which I do, whether you want at work, if you want to get that deal on that swanky new Honda minivan, I do. We're going to learn some...
Like a red Geo Prism, right? Wasn't that mentioned?
Yes,
yesterday?
I believe that's driving around. I love a little swagger wagon. We have so much to learn from you. Here's my question. Like, I think I'm a pretty good negotiator. I convinced my dad to let me get my ears pierced 4 years I was supposed to. But is this a skill that anyone can learn, or are some people just...
No, it's absolutely learnable. I mean, I read a lot that I like, The Talent Code by Daniel Coyle, and he contends that everything is learnable. As soon as you start putting in your time, and if you it, then you don't notice that you're putting in your time. But we all have the capacity to be really good at this.
So those in our host sites, our global audience here, who wants to negotiate? Oh, come on, a little bit. Who wants to negotiate? I had to negotiate that applause.
Hey, great negotiator.
Okay, so in a negotiation, what is the most important thing that we need to keep in mind? What should our mindset be in a negotiation?
You know, there's always going to be stuff the other side could say that could tell you that would delay. They've always got stuff that could help. They may not know all of it. Hear them out. First, hear the other side out. And one of the comments that we had yesterday, you know, only connect. Connect. I mean, turn the negotiation into a collaboration. You'll be shocked at how far you will get when you...
You say connecting is easy and connecting is powerful. It's as simple as that.
It's crazy how simple it is, how cheap it is, how much of a difference it could make. And if the other side feels you've connected with them, they're going to and they're going to say, that's right. You're either going to get little that, really big that's rights. And every time that's right to you, it's connected to you.
Mm-hmm. Not a your right. a little bit. Your main tenet of negotiation is tactical empathy. And the FBI actually thought that the best approach was empathy, which I think is really interesting when it comes to negotiation. People just want to be understood. They want to be accepted. They want to be heard. So tell us a little bit about tactical empathy and how important it is in a negotiation.
Right, so empathy is confused with compassion these days. Now, real fine lines, empathy is not compassion. It is a very compassionate do, and it is a critical step toward compassion. You can't become compassionate without having. But empathy is just completely understanding where someone is and being able to articulate that, parts about it that you might not like. Those are the critical issues. If I intimidate you, I should say, probably intimidate you. Mm-hmm. That's going to demonstrate understanding on my part. And we dropped the word tactical in front of it, first of all, to try to divorce it a little, needing it to be sympathy. And also we know how the brain works these days because we have neuroscience to watch the brain work. And so if it works, why don't we take advantage of it for better relationships, great collaboration?
Give me an example of how you would use tactical empathy in a negotiation.
And I may say something at the very beginning of the negotiation that, when people call us on the phone, we say, look, you got to be pretty nervous about trying to negotiate with a negotiator. That's calling out the room, not denying that it's there. Just say, hey, there's an elephant in the room. And as soon as you do that, if you deny there's an elephant in the room, people say, hey, what's the matter with the elephant right there?
Right.
And if you say, no, elephant there, everybody looks at it and goes, yeah, but, it's bad.
Yeah. You say listening is a martial art. Interesting about tactical empathy, it's reverse. You're still getting what you want out of the, correct?
All right, so power comes great responsibility.
Superman
Use your powers.
It's Spider-Man.
Spider-Man's uncle.
Spider-Man.
Come on, let's get it right. No, it's a technique. You can use it to manipulate people. You can use great collaboration. It doesn't invalidate the tools. It's like a cell phone. Everybody's got a phone. I was scared what
you were going to pull out of your jacket there.
No, but the cell phone is a tool. Negotiation is a tool. I could use it to manipulate people, but I'm gonna pay for that down. I need to use it to create great collaboration. Pay off down the road is better.
Okay, so tactical empathy is some of the other tactics that you use. Go through those. One of them is mirroring.
Mirroring?
Mirroring. Nice.
See, we just mirrored each other back and
I
forth
read
there.
his book. I know how to mirror.
Yeah, the hostage mirror is just repeating the last couple words of what somebody just said.
What they just said?
What they just said. You just repeat the words of what they just
how
said.
How about that?
Very nice. I knew she warned me in advance. And it keeps people talking. I mean, it lets people know that they were heard, but with the upward inflection, it says to somebody, hey, I heard what you said enough. Could you please expand? And that's what you say and what they hear. You want them to hear all of that. And then they expand and they talk.
It's as simple as repeating the last that they said.
That is actually some of the smartest people love it because of its simplicity and because it works.
You call mirroring your conversational army knife.
Yeah, well, yeah, you do a lot of stuff with this. I mean, the simplicity of a lot of the skills shouldn't fool you. The simplicity, and if you will, gives it elegance, gives it its adaptability. How many with it? How many people you can negotiate with?
Yeah, when I was reading this, it was very intuitive. You say that you want someone to say no. Why do you ever want someone to say no?
We feel safe and protected when we say no. We feel made no commitment, so we could be more honest. We could go on. I mean, no is worth at least 5 yeses, and people just go on. I could say to you, disagree.
No.
And you might be like, ah. And if I say, well, do you disagree? No, I don't disagree, but here are the following problems, and you let very quickly. So you'll talk to me a lot after you've said no than you will after I cornered you into a yes.
So it gets open up in some sense. And then once you get that no, what are the questions you should ask after the no?
Well, first of all, I got to give you a chance to talk. I mean, some of us are uncomfortable with silence. Silence. Shut the front door. You got to be willing to go silent and go on. Because you having said no and feeling protected, there are more things that you tell me if you don't feel you're going to be trapped by saying them.
About this, you have a couple of suggestions. No, what about this doesn't work for you?
Right. Again, if I remove barriers to agreement first, we'll get faster.
That's right. And another tactic. Instead of saying you say that's right. Such an important distinction. And how does that's right conversation?
All right, I'm going to reveal a few people's secrets in here. You're right is what we say to someone that we either have to have a relationship with, but we want them to stop talking.
Is that why my husband says that all the time?
The greatest practitioners of right in the world are husbands.
Oh. On to him now. He's right all the time, and I thought he was just placating me, but he just wants to shut up, right?
And he loves you.
He just wants me to stop talking.
So he can sit there and bask in your love.
Something. Effective pauses, like we just had right there. Effective pauses are very effective when it comes to negotiating.
Yeah, give people a chance to talk. Got a chance to talk. To be comfortable. 2 out of 3 of us are not comfortable. We believe that the world splits up evenly, regardless of gender or ethnicity, into 3 types. Fight, make friends.
Wait, say that again. Fight, flight, make friends.
Right.
Those are types of
response to threat, to conflict. A caveman walking down the jungle path, either something that surprised them, ran, or made friends with it. And those were the ones that survived, and the ones that couldn't make up their mind get eaten. Mm-hmm. And didn't have any.
Wow, did they have to get eaten? Such a tragic ending.
Yes.
So that's right versus you're right. Effective pause, likable. You were telling me yesterday you're 6 times more likely to make a deal with someone that you like. 6?
I can't control whether or not you like me. I control whether or not I'm likable. And it's as simple as just smiling. You're doing an interview.
This all sounds so simple. Honestly, and you learn this at Harvard, Scotland Yard, and the FBI. What you're telling us seems simple, but it's so effective.
Yeah, it's simple. Most of it's counterintuitive, and it works.
Yeah,
I mean, it's effective. It's emotional intelligence.
Mm-hmm. It's EQ. Don't say I understand.
I understand is what people say to us when they want us to stop talking so they can talk.
You're
yeah.
That was just like
I over my head.
Exactly what my husband says. You also say inviting him next year, by the way. It's not what they're asking, it's why they're asking it. And you want to figure out why they're asking for what they're asking for without saying, what are you asking for? Trying to get into the why.
Well,
not
you
the
get
what.
into the why, but why thing we find out as a hostage negotiator, literally, I've had a chance to test drive this stuff on the entire planet. The word why makes you can't ask somebody. My son is my director of operations. Calculation why it's a global phenomenon is because when you were 2 and you knocked something over wherever you lived, whatever country, whether you're an Arab or African or Latino, the adult looked at you and said, "Why did you do that?" And everybody's had it drilled into their head that you've done something. He says, "Why?" So you do need to find whys, but you switch the why to a what.
Okay.
Saying, "Why'd you do that?" or "Why do you want that?" I say, "I want that," and then you're more likely to answer.
And you also mentioned the power of an open question. And just define ended versus a closed-ended question for us.
All right. So the who, what, when, where, how, and why starts not with a verb, not is or does. Really focus it down to what and how is the open-ended question on steroids. Because how, first of all, you love to tell, but it calls you to
Projecting right now. Projecting on me.
But how triggers what Daniel Kahneman, who was well prized in behavioral economics, thinking, in-depth thinking. And not necessarily because I'm looking for an answer. I'm trying to shape your thinking. I'm trying to get you to stop and think and put you through an in-depth process. A lot of good reasons for me doing that.
What happens when you feel the negotiation is and it's out of your control?
All right, so then I'll call it out. And, you know, if it's slipping away, if it's out of control, it's probably at that point in time that I haven't earned your trust. And I'll actually say, you know, earn your trust. Because I'm going to encourage you to share with what the problem is. And I can't, if why is this slipping away, you're going to feel accused. Simply, or if I say, I don't want to slip away, again, it's a denial. But instead I'll say, feels like this is slipping away.
So
And
you'll call it out.
if you're going to ask me, I've got to draw it out of you, cause you to trust me.
Okay. Maybe a little role play, a little simulation. See, to answer questions. Who wants a raise? Person in the audience wants a raise. Who wants their kids to bed on time? I do. Yes. So let's go through all of these real life situations. My 5-year-old holds me hostage every single night, putting. We have to stay with him. We have to interlock hands with him. And it's a long process. Let's go to bed fine. So for those and our host sites, global audience, help us walk through that negotiation. How can I get my kid to sleep? I've literally tried everything.
I'll baby for a couple of days.
To Camp Chris.
Yeah.
I know. I'll take you up on that.
I put them to work.
Okay, there. I that. Okay, so where do I begin?
All right. So, we're going to use a how question, and we're going to make what they want the path to what you want.
The how question.
How question. So your 5-year-old wants something. He wants Disney World. He wants to watch it weekend. And again, the it's not whether they answer. The issue is what you made their brain do when you ask the how question. Now, let's say you're going to go to Disney World. You say, hey, look, how do you go to Disney World if you don't go to bed early? And they'll stop and think. Now, parent also is teach your kids how to think. And this is learn to think better with a how question. And it gets them to think a little bit, trigger about their future. And best of all, lose them out.
So you just continue them with how question, and eventually they'll just fall asleep.
They'll get tired of answering a how question.
So the how question triggers their brain. They have to think repeatedly. That's going to wear them out.
It's going to wear them out. I mean, they win the battle because they're wearing you out. They're wearing them out faster.
I cannot wait out of my child. Doesn't
She's
work.
Start asking her husband how.
Doesn't work. I'm seriously sending him to camp.
I'm
definitely taking you up on that. Okay, I want to raise.
All right, so
Getting a raise.
raise, a little bit different, bad news.
Just bad.
Here's the bad news. Employers, bosses, your bosses see people as selfish. Because the only time you walk into the boss's office, you want something. You've conditioned them that you're not going to step through unless you want something from them. You're conditioning them. Walk in and say, how can I be involved in projects that are critical to the company's strategic future. Now, instantaneously, what they and what they hear, what you've just said, what they hear, that you want to make their life better. Come in there to make your life better. There to make the entire team's life better. Critical to our future. Negotiation is about what will happen in the future. We might be unhappy with what's happening today, but we can shift in the future that we both agree on and work our way back. And so talking about a successful future together now instantly makes me valuable. Because I'm not out for me, I'm out for everybody. And critical pride also what really matters, where we're going, what is going to paint the best future possible. And we not only will get involved, accelerate our career, we'll get visibility with important people in a company. You will make yourself more valuable based on the experience. And then if they don't pay you, and not everybody will, you now have a much better resume and you're much.
So you're asking that question, how can I be invaluable? How can I be a part of this company? But you're not following up with a raise.
No,
you're not following up with, can I have a raise?
Absolutely not. You know, leave the selfish stuff out. Make yourself more valuable in order to, always more valuable than what you're paid. If you're making yourself more valuable than what you're paid, it makes you limitless on how much you can get. So you focus on what you bring to the table. Not every employer has sense, but if they have sense to retain you, they're going to have to pay you more. If they don't, somebody else with sense will.
Is everybody enjoying this? I feel like this is so applicable. It's so to everything that we do. Buy a car. I am going to actually buy a minivan this December. How get the best price on the minivan? I literally get anxiety when I walk into a if there's any dealerships or salesmen here, but you give me anxiety. So how do I deal?
You know, say what they're going to say. It leaves them with nothing to do other than drop the price. I mean,
What?
all right. So, and forgive me because I'll talk about a story. I drive I drive a truck, a Toyota 4Runner. That's the color. It's not red. It's salsa red pearl.
Wait, salsa red pearl?
Salsa red pearl. I mean, it just makes me say that. And so I'm smitten with it. And I go in, and instead of having him use that against me, I said, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Because he's going to say to me, look, you got to pay the price of the truck. And I say, I love you. It's the most beautiful thing. I mean, there's one around it, like it. I mean, it's the most beautiful color I've ever seen. And then I said, how am I supposed to pay that?
I would never want to be on the other side of a negotiation with you. What does that do by simply asking, how am I supposed to pay that?
I mean, he blinked about 3 times. And he twitched a little. And then he got up and he went back and he came out with a lower offer. He said, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. You're so generous. With what you asked before, let alone a better price.
It's not even fair for the poor guy.
And then I said, how am I supposed to pay that? And he blinked and he twitched. And he went back and he got another lower price.
You got him to knock the price down twice? 5 times?
I figured as long as he kept getting up and going back, I wasn't going to stop.
Did he actually just pay you to leave?
Yeah, well, I got the truck.
Salsa red pearl.
It's good, doesn't it?
It does. It sounds so good. By the way, one of the executives here at the summit, who I will not name, said that it was terrifying, the negotiation for your speaker. And he said even though he had to deal with your assistant, did you take it easy on them at the summit?
Take it easy on everybody.
I am not buying that. Not at all. So, what happens when fear starts to creep in during the negotiation? Deal with fear.
Well, you know, the fear, because we're hardwired to be afraid. I mean, our national system is 75%. I mean, it was necessary when we had to worry about getting eaten by a saber-toothed tiger, and we inherited that genetic wiring. The quickest hack really is to be genuinely. I mean, if you're really interested, if you're genuinely curious, that really bypasses all that, keeps you in a positive mind, keeps you from feeling like you're committing to anything.
Mm-hmm.
Genuine curiosity is the fastest hack to avoid fear.
Genuine curiosity. And it kind of goes back to tactical listening to the other person. They just understood. You don't have to agree with them, right?
And in most cases, they don't need you to, they just need to be heard. Again, that's the connect. You just hear people out. They feel connected. The steps that you take forward, doesn't matter who they are on the other side.
Right.
Is wonderful. It's amazing.
And I know you've been in so many different circumstances, so many terrifying circumstances as the lead international hostage negotiator. Can you recount a specific time to creep into the negotiation and how you dealt with it?
Well, I always worked with a team. I mean, I relied on the process. I worked with a team. I mean, if I got worried about what, I would start bouncing stuff off of my team. So, you know, I can't really, I had enough faith in the process. I don't remember being scared of it. And I believe, you know, you want to go fast, go alone. You want to go far, team. I always win as a team. We had a team now. We always had a team then.
Yeah. Sharing an interesting story. You didn't grow up saying hostage negotiator. I really don't know anybody that worry about you if you do grow up saying I want to be a hostage negotiator. You kind of fell into it, right?
Yeah, well, almost literally. I was a member of the SWAT team. I was on the FBI SWAT team. I injured my knee, and for the second time, and I knew that there was the life, you only, I don't know how many, 5, 6 times. And so the negotiators always went out with a SWAT. What they did looked easy. I mean, I could talk. I talk all the time.
Right? So how hard was it? How hard was it? Famous last words.
Yeah. I like hey, how hard could it be for me is, is, hey, watch this, right? Mm-hmm. But, yeah, like anything, like what you do. I mean, you're an extraordinarily talented.
Thank you.
That takes work. That takes delight in doing it. Attention, putting your hours in, as Coyle would say, you communicating with people. And, yeah, the subtleties I was fascinated by. I volunteered on a suicide hotline. It struck me because they told us up front, you won't be on longer with anybody than 20 minutes. I'm like, 20 minutes? Kid me. And the movies are on there for hours.
Yeah.
But when I learned that, referred to as emotional intelligence, to connect, that you could be on a phone with someone suicidal and 20 minutes later they'd be okay. 10 minutes, less than 20.
Wow.
And I'm like, wow, this stuff's awesome. Mm-hmm. It's because we're people, not because we're in crisis, but because we're people. And I started applying it in every aspect of yeah, it's amazing. So thank God.
Oh, yeah. Only we're glad that you hurt your knee. How's your knee doing?
It's still
that we know. Bionic. Chris Voss, we have really enjoyed this. I've enjoyed this. Like I said, I'm terrified, but you easy for me. So my husband's in commercial real estate. He is a large real estate firm in New York City. And he buys your book for all of his agents. Your book Split the Difference. So thanks for all the work that you've done. And there's so much. If you haven't read the Difference, this is my public service announcement. Make sure you get the book because it's a job and you get really nuanced. So
thank you. It's a privilege to be here.
Thank you, Chris.
Looking back at years when I first saw inequality and I saw it to now, I'm in Portugal, in Lisbon, working in the Lisbon Project with refugees. This is not what I thought I would do with my life. The first time that I went to Guinea-Bissau with my dad, very small country in Western Africa, poor country. I had never seen poverty in my eyes. Now what I can't unsee. And so when I graduated university, I was sure now God's going to take a developing country where I'm going to be able to use whatever I've learned and just dedicate my life to addressing the poverty that first touched my heart at 14. I had the experience, I had the studies, I had the right degree. It seemed like the door was opening and to work out all my plans and everything I had done. The doors kept closing. Here in Portugal, when two friends approached me and said, Gabby, have you noticed the migrant and refugee situation in Portugal? I think that you actually should stay in Portugal and we should see if there's anything that you can do. And I shut down the conversation and I said, no, absolutely. I'm sorry, I'm not staying in Portugal. Maybe speak to someone else because it's not me. At the same time, I was meeting a few families in Portugal from Iraq, seeing the poverty that they were living in my city. Supposedly everybody's comfortable. Supposedly everybody has access to basic needs. And so I realized that this was something missing. I was in to the GLS. John Maxwell was just doing his session, and he was talking about a lady named Gabby, and she had intentionally to add value to other people's lives. He kind of looked at the camera, and as if he was looking straight into my eyes and saying,
who's going to be the next Gabby? Who's going to be the next young lady? Who I am going to intentionally add to people every day and make my life count.
So that's where I really decided that I'm here. I want to be the next Gabby. I knew he was calling me to work with migrants and refugees in the city of Lisbon. I decided, okay, we got the space and on the people, trusted God for provision. Migrants, refugees, they started coming, and the team. I didn't have anyone to provide the services. I had to be a lawyer, I had to be a doctor, I had to be everything that I could. I'm trying to do by myself. So where's the people that God's gonna, where are they? Because right now I'm feeling a little bit. And then slowly I started getting volunteers. I started getting volunteer teachers, volunteer doctors, volunteer lawyers. In less than a year, we grew so quickly. I realized I couldn't do this on my own anymore. So now we're a team with over 100 registered volunteers. We planted a church alongside the Lisbon. Grew quite a lot. Language barrier was a huge problem to employment. It's how you make money. It's how you yourself. People come, they don't speak Portuguese. They speak Portuguese, they can't enter the job market. Mohsen is originally from Iraq, where reality of war, and he arrived in about 23. He was alone. He had no papers here in Portugal. He spoke very little English at the time, so communicating was a little bit difficult. Mohsen used to be very up and down with his and to any of his family in a long time. He didn't see himself. He would come in just completely down, completely depressed, completely sad. We have a partnership with a grocery store chain in Portugal. We made for him to work the night shift. He could work with his team in the evenings, so he would still have to improving his Portuguese, but at least he could start somewhere. And ever since he started working at he was empowered. He realized that something, he was taking steps forward, and last month he finally got his residency. It gives him 5 years to be and he doesn't have to worry about papers or anything. All the Portuguese community, migrants and refugees, is war. At Project, we do a lot of culture celebration month we choose one of the countries that are represented in our community, and we celebrate that country. We celebrate their music, their dance, their food, showing people that these foreigners that country, they're just people, and many times have great things to add to our community. When we open our eyes to a certain injustice, it just takes this for God to use us, because God is justice. God is a God of leadership. If there's anything, He's the provider to give it to us. When I first saw inequality and justice, this is not how I thought I was going to use my life. But this is how God wants to use me.
Three years ago, I attended the Leadership Summit for the very first time. Maxwell literally looked into the camera and called me by name. Now, I know your name, and I'm certainly no Maxwell, but I've flown across the ocean that there is change waiting to happen with your name on it. And the only question you have to ask yourself is, what will I do? Not necessarily what can I do, because I have learned that the can comes after the will. The comes after the availability. I'm well aware that the success of the project is not a product of my resume or lengthy qualifications. Rather, it is a result of 22-year-old me simply saying yes. Yes to going beyond my comfort zone. Beyond the expectations that so often yes. Yes, seeing the injustice that disturbed me, an invitation to create change. And maybe you don't have to start something new. Maybe, just maybe, there's already happening around you, and you just have to say yes, being in. You see, I may have started the Lisbon Project, but I am only here today before all of you to over 130 men and women who have volunteered over the past 2 years with their time and their resources. And women who said yes to going beyond with me. Thanks to the Global Leadership Summit, I was able to listen to something that was already shouting from within my heart. I was taken from mere sight and given. And so I want to today and say thank you to all who contribute to making the Global Leadership Summit possible in so many nations of the world, including Portugal. The GLS not only triggered me into action, but it has helped form the substance of my leadership ever since. It has spotlighted my influence and confronted me with how I choose to use it. The Lisbon Project has gone from being a crazy idea to being a well-established nonprofit organization that has assisted in the integration and protection of over 400 migrants and refugees from all over the world of Lisbon. So as I return home, we grow. We will continue to live the motto we have so often experienced. It is only impossible. And so the questions for you, what will you do with your influence? What will you do with the invitation to create change wherever you find yourself? What is your grander vision? Thank you.
At the age of 31, Asia Brown history as the youngest elected mayor of Compton, California, a national trailblazer, vision focused on family values, quality of life, development, and infrastructural growth. Started a gang reduction and intervention initiative in a record low for homicides in over 2 decades. She also reduced the unemployment rate by 50%, while successfully attracting new companies and employment. By By making these major strides in her term, she was overwhelmingly re-elected to a second term in 2017. As a youth, women's rights and equality, Mayor Brown received a number of honours, including the National Network Martin Luther King Award, as well as the John F. Kennedy New Frontier Award. A warm summit welcome to Mayor A.
Such a be here today, and we're all here in tuning in from campuses around the world because regardless of where we've come from or where we are, we're all dedicated to making a difference, to shaking things up. We've decided to be a force for change, to overcoming obstacles. We're being a catalyst for progress. Whether we are leading the way as the head of our teams, organization, lead ministry, a member of a team, or be here for the most important leadership of leading ourselves. Regardless of where you or where you're going, you are it. And let's face it, people are apt to change when system failure is imminent. There is no new course of action, and the need for change is less tied to being efficient and more tied to survival. In order to utilize vision, move the mission forward, a clear understanding about is essential and can make or break your cause. I've learned through serving that there is a huge difference between being busy and being fruitful. Being fruitful is tied to production. Busy is tied to actions, not results. Jumpstarting catalytic change is a direct vision, buy-in, collaboration, and timing. When all of these factors are all cylinders, production is imminent. Let's face it, we've all been a part of something that just wasn't producing. I can almost tell you that one of the 4 factors I just mentioned, vision, buy-in, collaboration, timing, were out of sync. Let's get into it. In order to overcome with vision, we need to understand 4 key principles. Vision is the vehicle to creating. If we can be honest, most of us can admit that fast. We don't like delays. We want us to go anywhere slowly. We all have an inherent need for speed when it comes to wanting to accomplish. Vision is that vehicle that enables us to pivot to a new direction and get to the fast. I want to share my story. When I first ran for of the city of Compton, I knew I needed a dynamic change, but it was critical to connect with stakeholders and educate on what they believe the key issues were in our community. All constituencies are different, and your big challenges may vary from neighborhood to neighborhood. Group and ask for feedback on key issues, community indicators, and I also discussed my based on what I heard and what I had prepared in. And one thing I just want to underscore is that everyone is an expert at their own post, and you cannot lose by gaining information from serving. Whether it's where they leave, the widget that they make, people are source, and sometimes people in position can take granted. I want to just encourage you to grab John Maxwell's Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, and he talks about and leading with influence. Visioning is a process. Obviously, it involves it also ensures that you are not working, and it also gives those voices of criticism to vent and come to the surface so that you can address them head on. At the end of the day, in creating any significant change requires vision. The leader should draw from those that they serve, alignment to your organization, and also to unity in order for common ground and goals to be identified. And one action point. Define shared progress up front. Be clear on what you define progress, or you'll allow someone else to do it for you. Second point, vision is power. Strategic launching a vision is equivalent to sending a missile into the atmosphere. The missile may have instructions and delays that requires a new route calculated, but eventually the missile will target. The vision will manifest. The great thing about vision, it doesn't rely on one person. It relies on many. Once vision goes, the atmosphere begins conforming to that declaration. Vision is power. Vision is a consensus builder. Vision is a force multiplier. Vision activates, vision clarifies, amplifies, vision excites, vision charts course. Vision is the vehicle of momentum.